Hello, it's Mike back once again with tip number 72 from our top 100 tips, tools, and life lessons from the Insight One Awakening Heart Seminar. We're going to continue on the theme of looking at keeping our agreements or keeping our word, in part because it is so foundational to everything else you want to go for in your life. Again, if that relationship between your basic self and your conscious self is not strong, if there isn't really strong trust there, you can say anything you want, you can dream any dream you want, but if your basic self doesn't engage and give you the energy to move into action, chances are pretty likely you're not going to manifest that. You're not going to achieve that. What we wanted to do is explore one more aspect of what we make more important than our word. Something that I intentionally didn't mention on the last tip, because for so many of us, it's such a big piece. And that is, we make somebody else's approval more important than keeping our word. How many times have you been in situations where to keep your word would have been uncomfortable, or maybe would have potentially had somebody disapprove of you, or maybe in your sense, maybe you would have hurt somebody's feelings if you had done it? Just take some time, because this one is a big one for so many of us. The other thing we can tend to do in terms of making agreements as it relates to somebody else's approval is we can overcommit. What we'll do is we'll say yes to far more things than we should. How many of you are people that have trouble saying no? How many of you have difficulty setting boundaries? And so someone comes to you and you say yes. Why? Because you want their approval. You want them to like you. We like to be liked. And so in our desire to want to be liked, and for some of us, we want to help people. And yet what we end up doing is making too many agreements or making conflicting agreements and setting ourselves up in situations where not only do we break our agreements, but we also end up with less approval, and the relationships that we want to strengthen with other people actually are impacted because we didn't follow through on the agreement we said we were going to keep with them. So interestingly enough, when we make agreements or make too many agreements because we want the approval or we want someone to like us, we oftentimes set ourselves up to break those agreements and actually end up with less approval. And so begin to explore this area in your life, not only in terms of keeping your word, but oftentimes with the approval space. Are you making too many agreements? Are you saying yes to too many things when you should be saying no to some things? And one of the things that we sometimes say is we talk about being overcommitted, but sometimes we say, no, you're not overcommitted. You're undercommitted to the thing that matters most to you. You're saying yes to too many things, which means you can't really say a clear yes to those things that matter most to you. Once again, thank you for listening. Check out what's happening at Insight Boston at insightboston.org. Check out what's happening globally at insightseminars.org. And certainly check out what's happening in your local Insight community. Have a great day.